I start over again. There's something stuck in here. That happens every now and then. Something gets stuck in the reeds. That's why you're not supposed to eat while you're playing your harmonica. Oh, it happens. Even if you keep it clean. It does. Dang, might have to take this one apart. I should cut all this out. I think I should. I was in the mood. I was in the mood to play my harmonica. I was in the mood. Here, I have a backup one. I don't know how to play anything cool on the harmonica. I can bend notes a little bit, but I can't play the blues. Maybe I'm too white. Is that the problem? Try not to slurp. Excuse me. All right, time to don the fez. Greetings, fellow citizens. This is Citizen Kong, and welcome to another Fez Night. Tonight's Fez Night should be called Fez Night 2012. Yeah, I'm not in mourning. Put this brace on earlier and I forgot about it. Yeah, I think I've got like tennis elbow or something. I think one day I was, gave me something to do and I had to turn like about 20 or 30 screws and really have to torque down on it. And the guy's like, "Oh, we got one of those, you can use the rechargeable drill thing or whatever to drill the screws." And I said, No, I'm good. From now on, I'm using that. I'm using that power screwdriver. So how have you all been? Huh? Doing okay? Yes, it's the new year. And so far, the world didn't end like those people were predicting. The Mayan calendar, running out of numbers and stuff. Hold on, let me turn something off here. And, yeah, we're still here. And I'm still here. And I can't think of anything to say. And maybe I should break out the newspaper. Any of you have any New Year's resolutions? I don't really believe so much in a New Year's resolution. I know it's like, I think it was, the whole concept of measuring time is a man-made up thing. I believe time is real. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Time is real. But the concept of how we measure it is a man-made thing. And so they pick this day out of the year and say, yes, it's a new year. We're going to start counting here. And everybody's going to go like, oh, it's the time for a fresh start. It's a new year. I'll make some resolutions. I said something, the best resolution is no resolution. But I'll admit, it's a new year and you think, well, I'm going to try to do things a little differently. I'm going to try to make some changes. But shouldn't we be thinking that every day? Shouldn't we? What have I been doing? Yeah, hey, I got through the holidays. Some of you that have known me for a long time, I don't particularly care for Christmas. I think it's all a pain in the butt. But since I've become dramatically more poor, I just say, oh, I can't spend any money, so I'm just going to stay home. I'm going to do whatever. I got on the phone, talked to relatives and stuff, and that was good. But no sending a gift to my nephew again. Yeah, face it, he wants something good. Besides, he's getting too old for presents, right? Well, I'm just making a Fez because I thought I should make a Fez. It's been so dead on YouTube that there's not a whole lot to talk about. You know, people, it slows down around the holidays because we have better things to do, including me. Yeah, than waste our time on YouTube. I've said it many times. It's an odd demographic of people that spend their time here. And what's so funny though is yet other people be like, oh, what are you doing here? Get a life. Well, you're here too. Right? Huh? Yeah, boy. It's ready to be the worst Fez night ever. Should I dig out and look at the newspaper? Oh, I wanted to say one thing to Bobo McGraw. I feel so embarrassed. So I was reading this thing on the inside of this cup, and it says time and relative dimension in space. And I thought, I was actually trying to ponder what that might mean, because it sort of makes sense in a way. And TARDIS is an acronym for those words. And he says, you call yourself a Whovian. That's a new one. I didn't know that Doctor Who fans were known as Whovians, which is kind of cool. The Whovians. And or maybe that's just in Ireland. Is that in Great Britain, the Whovian? But yeah, that went way over my head, and I'm still I can't consider myself a knowledgeable fan. I probably know more about Star Trek trivia than I do Doctor Who trivia. And like I said, I just started watching the shows with the new Doctor Who. And I went back and rewatched one with David Tennant. And David Tennant is the Doctor Who that got me excited about it. I mean, the first guy, I don't remember who the actor played, but he reminds me of the lead singer from Men at Work, the front guy. I don't know, he kind of reminded me of him. And he was good, And then they introduced that character that was the blonde played by Billie Piper, who was pretty cool. And then she carried over to the next Doctor Who with David Tennant. And it was those episodes with David Tennant, I thought they were just epic. They were just, the world almost ends, Doctor Who almost dies. I mean, I'm beginning to find out that's pretty normal for Doctor Who. But that got me really, that's kind of where I just really got into it. And then Matt Smith's character came along, and now I've gotten so used to it. When I went back and watched David Tennant again, I rewatched an episode. Takes place around Christmas, and the Master returns, and there's an old man who's the father of some other woman that was a companion to Doctor Who, David Tennant's Doctor Who. Like any of you really care, but anyway, I thought I was missing the Matt Smith character. Matt Smith to me now is Doctor Who. And at first I go, this guy, he's too silly, he's too dorky. Because David Tennant had kind of a little more coolness to him, I thought, hipster. TARDIS. Yes, okay, I won't forget that. And speaking of British television shows, I started watching something called Being Human. And I saw that's because the stuff that I've been stealing off BitTorrent, there's no new stuff coming out. I got into this show called American Horror Story. Wow. I normally don't like horror stories, blood and gore stuff, but that's really good. I'm looking forward to when they start making new ones of that. And of course, Breaking Bad. I'm hoping they come up with a new season for that. A new season for Weeds would be nice. This is another show that I was getting into. Man, when I was watching Weeds, that woman, later on, like when her husband first died, she's kind of like holding off. They had like this scene with her and a vibrator because she wasn't getting any. And then later as the show progressed, she totally I would just be watching going, man, what a slut. She would just hop into bed with spontaneously having sex with some guy. But yeah, I like that actress though. She's good. She's good. She gets her kit off quite a bit. Yeah, the phone's ringing. I'm gonna just have to let it go to voicemail. Here, if I set it on, you can hear it vibrate. Should I put it in my pants? Oh, what else? So yeah, so I watched. I don't know if they're gonna make any more Weeds or even Breaking Bad. I think there's talking about making more Breaking Bad. Um, in American Horror Story, it's about this house and all these like terrible things happened in it, and this couple and their daughter who they're trying to keep their marriage together, and part of the thing that they do to keep their marriage together is to buy this house, or I don't know, it's kind of complicated, but they decide to make a new start, and they come out there and they move into this house where there was a murder, and the price is so low that they decide to buy it anyway, and it's a really nice house, and all these terrible things happen there, and I guess I shouldn't give any more of it away, huh? Unless you're curious. Just distracting me. Now that person left a voice message. You know what I hate? I hate when people call you and leave voice messages, and then you call them back, and their voicemail is not set up. That really bothers me. The person you have tried to call has not set up their voicemail. It's like, ugh, it's not fair. I should just block your number. Yeah, so there's, and Walking Dead. Yeah, I'm waiting for new shows of that. That'd be good. What else? Oh, I'm still watching Chuck. There's a new episode I can watch tonight. You know, since Chuck lost the Intersect, it's just not the same. And when his buddy Grimes had the Intersect, oh man, it just made me like, oh, just go, oh, this show's... Grimes in the Intersect, it really sucked, if you don't know what I'm talking about. And then Fringe, I'm looking forward to new episodes of Fringe. Yeah, that show's interesting. Yeah, Peter is somebody that doesn't exist now, you know. I'm looking at this. I'm hoping that the lip sync problem is okay. There's not going to be any problems with this again. Yeah, it's just terribly boring, isn't it? Talking about TV shows goes to show how I've been wasting my time with stuff. But hey, you know, it's cheap. I don't spend any money. Job's going good. I never worked for a company before that needed to do inventory at the end of the year. So everything just got weird as it rolled up towards Christmas. And, you know, and I had to play like the Secret Santa thing and la la la, and then they got together, you know, in one of the areas of the building and did the Secret Santa exchange and gave out gift certificates. There's no real Christmas bonus, but they gave me a gift certificate for Vaughn, so I guess I shouldn't complain. And so they do inventory and everything just stops because they don't want to send any orders out to fabrication. And so I spent a lot of time just sweeping and getting paid to just walk around and look busy. And then counting stuff. I wasn't officially one of the people put in charge of counting, but you know, they give you this like little gun that has like, it's a scanner, it shoots a little laser beam out there, and it scans the barcodes on the shelves and stuff. And you're supposed to count what's there and then register it in the scanner. And I looked at that. I go, I don't want to do that. I hate using new technology. I mean, stuff like that. I just get put off by it. Learning a new machine, you know, like buying a new cell phone. I'm all like, oh God, now I have to learn this thing again, you know. And I haven't bought a new cell phone in probably about 3 years or something like that. Yeah, I'm going month to month, no contract, yay. And but there was this gal that was having trouble. She was falling behind, and so they said, you go help her. So I went to go help her, and then it turns out there was somebody else there helping her. And then at one point there was 3 people helping her. At one point there was even 4 people helping her. And the thing is, this woman, she would kind of like hang out for a little bit and then leave and say, "Oh, I got to go do this," and then not come back. And somebody put it pretty well. I was giving her the benefit of the doubt that she said that she had to go like take some calls in the office because she worked in the office, involved in sales. And somebody else told me, go, "No, that's why so-and-so's not out here, and that's why so-and-so's not out here. They're handling the phones." The guy said she just doesn't want to do it. Well, I can't really blame her, but come on. You just do it. Get it done. She was making it worse. We got more done when she was gone. At one point she just left and said, "Screw it." And me and this other guy, we just started doing it ourselves. But in the end, she's the one who's responsible, So if something happened, and they go, "Well, where did you screw up this?" She goes, "No, that happened when I was gone." I go, "No, don't blame us. You were supposed to be here. It's all on you." Yeah, like I said, I've never worked for a company that big that had, and this is supposed to take this one guy was telling me the year before it took like a couple weeks, or they went into 2 weeks doing it or something. I go, man. But they got this new guy now. They only hired him a few months ago. And I think it didn't take us weeks, and they let us go early. I'm just hoping I have enough vacation pay rolled up to pay for these days I've taken off. Otherwise, I'm going to get a really small check. Yeah. So, getting back to speaking about what I watch on television, with Monty Python and Masterpiece Theater and all the good stuff that comes over from the UK, I sort of grew up, and like a lot of Americans growing up, thinking that somehow British television is much superior. Oh, The Prisoner, Even something like Space 1999, which, by the way, I was talking to Monk. He hated that show. Well, that was all right, but it was really slow. It just really dragged on. But I kind of like Barbara Bain, and I sort of like, what would they say, the mise en scène of the show, the feel, the look. I like that. But it was terribly slow. And I did. I liked it. We lived in a mobile home park back then, and that's when my dad retired too. And we had a fancy one. It wasn't just some typical trailer. It was a double wide, and we lived in a mobile manor, not a trailer park. And I still tell people I grew up in a trailer park. Whatever, white trash. So what? And we lived in Space 100. That's what they called it. The spaces in the park were called Space 100, Space 90, Space 77, and that show would come on, Space 1999, and my dad would go, "God, that's an awful big trailer park." Get it? Space 1999. Yeah, our park, we had probably about 150 spaces, something like that. Yeah, every time I think of that show, I think of my dad and his cornball humor. Yeah. So, British television shows. And Doctor Who. I don't think you can match Star Trek or any American shows that. And look, I'm just going by the new Doctor Who. I understand there was earlier ones that were written by. I should definitely look for the ones that were written by Douglas Adams. I'm a big fan of Douglas Adams, and even Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Even though it was the show, I really thoroughly enjoyed. Even though it was kind of cheesy and the special effects were cheesy, the writing was just so good. So I'll have to give some of those older Doctor Who's a look. But just the new Doctor Who, I don't think there's any American science fiction show or fantasy show that can match it. Modern era. Star Trek Next Generation or whatever, any of those. I don't know. It's just something about the writing and the silliness, and their monsters or creatures are just They're just different. They're not so like scary so much, but creepy. They do. I don't know. It's hard to put my finger on. But I kind of grew up tending to think that British television was superior. Well, I started watching a show called, which got the critics got good. You know, I ran out of things to watch. Being Human was the other one I just finished watching, and I'm looking forward to new episodes of that. And I thought the description of it, it's like basically there's a werewolf. For some reason, I'm watching a lot of stuff about werewolves and vampires or whatever, supernatural. There's a werewolf, a vampire, and a ghost that are basically flatmates. And when I first read the description, it was recommending it to me on Netflix. I thought, I don't know, that sounds stupid. And so I ran out of things to watch. What was it? I watched, I forgot, I watched the final episode of something. I guess it was just Walking Dead or whatever, that shows it stopped for the season, so I had to look for a new show to watch. And I really, really got into it. Being Human is really good writing, and a lot of like drama, cliffhanger stuff, and even some humor, and it's a nice take on the werewolf vampire thing, you know. And of course, their version of the vampire, you can walk. They don't like the sun. They try to avoid it, but they can. They can walk around in daylight. Some of the stuff, like religious imagery, still kind of freaks them out. There was a really good part of the show where there was a sort of hardcore fundamentalist Christian minister working with a scientist that believed in. And then she's not a real scientist. She believed in intelligent design, and she came up with the theory of the gene for evil, and so she hooks up with this minister, and they're working together, and they're luring werewolves to this chamber. What do they call it? Isobaric chamber, whatever, decompression chamber. And under the theory that they could block the effects of the gravitational pull of the moon, which air pressure wouldn't have anything to do with it. But, you know, if you're going to sit there, and a lot of these shows, you just have to, unless it's really blatant and you're just going, oh my God, this is just terrible. And you're like, this is stupid. But I could sort of overlook that, all right? I just had to let that pass. Anyway, these werewolves, they put them in there and they die. And they're like, okay, let's try another one. And I thought that was kind of neat, because her character was kind of sympathetic. She ends up having a fling with the vampire. And she's attractive in a way. But man, boy, getting into the sense of humor and the irony or whatever, and a political statement. I thought that was great, that they had her. You know, as this misguided scientist and this crazy evangelical preacher. You know, of course, in these shows, the vampires and the ghosts, you know, and the other thing about the ghost is that she, at one point, so she becomes solid, kind of, to some people. There's an explanation for why. Certain people can see her, especially vampires and werewolves can see her. She's a very likable character, even though she's kind of ditzy. This is a really boring Fez Night. It's not any of the political intrigue. Well, it's what I'm talking about, what's on my mind, and everything has just been for the past couple of weeks is just blah. There's nothing. My mind's gone dormant. So, yeah, Being Human, I really like that. And I watched the last episode, and I was like, oh, man, it was really good. And, you know, I thought really good show. Oh, you know what's other good British shows are like, I wish I could remember it. Steve Coogan. He plays like this character who's really a jerk. Anyway, I can't go into all the British shows that I've liked, and I can't say that I know everything about the show, but I've watched this guy. Anyway, my point is that some British television is crap. Not all they try not to export the crap over here, you know. So we'll have a higher opinion of them. I'm watching a new show called Primeval, and I'm kind of getting into it, but it's like, I think it's for kids, kind of. And that talk about a show where you go, oh come on, a scientist wouldn't do that. Oh come on, it's full of that, and just bad writing and cliche lines, and I go, man, this is like an American show. I remember watching something. I go, oh please, they're not going to say that, some line like, the sort of cliche stuff like, thank you for saving me from myself, or some bullshit like that, And you go, oh my gosh, I can't, They're sitting around writing for the show, and somebody didn't say, can't we think of something more original, But yeah, this involves, the American counterpart of this, which is actually that's why he ran out of episodes, was I was watching that, and it's called, wow, I can't remember what it's called, but it's some show where it takes place in the future, and the world is overpopulated, and they figure out a way to travel. There's some like gateway to the past, and they go into another timeline, and they start a colony where there's dinosaurs and stuff, so it's mankind's second chance. And they explain it doesn't affect our timeline because it's a separate timeline. And that started out really cheesy. As any of you, old like me, Soylent Green came out when I was a kid. And when that movie came out, you're like, whoa, wow. There's a scene where, somebody they break into this house, and there's like, I forgot what it was. It was some type of piece of fruit or a piece of meat that was like hanging in a safe, like it was super, super valuable. And you're like, oh, wow, it's super valuable. Wow. Nobody has any fresh fruit, like this, this dude like somehow gets his hand on some rich guy dipped a spoon in a jelly jar or some strawberry jam, and he steals the spoon and he licks it later, and he's like, oh, and you're like, I'm a kid, and you're like, whoa, that's scary with a future like that. So there's a scene in the show, oh, man, I don't know, I can't remember what it's called, Earth 2 or something like that. I don't know what it's called. There's a lot of shows like about apocalyptic, end of the world's so polluted, overpopulation, all this stuff. So there's a scene, the dad comes home and he brings home an orange, and everybody's like, oh wow, that's an orange, whoa, And of course they get in trouble because they're only allowed to have 2 kids, they had a 3rd child, and the police come knocking on their door, and they try to hide the child, and they get in big trouble. But the wife is an important scientist, so she gets sent to this colony, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, this is stupid. But I didn't have anything else to watch. I started watching it. But actually, so far, that American show is a little bit better than this show called Primeval. In Primeval, there's a gate to the past, but they pop up intermittently. And what will happen is some dinosaur or some prehistoric creature will slip through the hole and wreak havoc, And, and the scientists, it's sort of like Fringe in a way, because their job is to anticipate when these anomalies will happen and go there to prevent trouble, and they make up stories to cover it, to keep it out of the public domain that this stuff is going on. And the only reason why I'm still watching this show is there's a lot of good looking actresses in it. That's what can I say. And I'm watching the show, and I think, compared to other British shows, are they trying to be like an American show? Because that's true of American programs. Everybody, every female character, almost always, is gorgeous. The secretary, whatever. I mean, even if they're like the quirky secretary who may not be considered like a beauty queen or super, super hot, they're still attractive. They're still, in real life, 99% of us guys would totally date her, But what I thought I liked about Misfits. That show's really good. Been watching that. And the great thing about Misfits is one of the lead female characters has one of the biggest butts I've ever seen on television. And she's she plays like this working class, kind of like they call chav type female. and she's got like a big nose and a really, really big ass and huge thighs. I know I sound like such a misogynist. Objectifying women. Okay, all right, I'm objectifying. But women complain about this too. It's like, oh, we watch TV and these aren't normal women. Well, the wonderful thing about Misfits, and I love the show, and I find her attractive, is that she's a realistic female, and they cast her as one of the lead characters. And I think that's brilliant. But in Primeval, every female is just beautiful. They don't have any of them that are halfway there. Boardwalk Empire. I'm jumping all over the place. That's another show I'm looking forward to more of those. That show's really good. I really like Boardwalk Empire. And so, yeah, I'm watching Primeval. And I'm going to watch some more tonight. And I'm watching it off of Netflix. The special effects are really good, though, I have to say. Special effects are really good. And they probably spent more money on that. And what I like about the creatures when they move, like they had these dodo birds, and then this sort of like small flying lizard-looking thing that was really cute. It doesn't grow big; it's small, and then the dodo birds, when they move very realistically. Like they'll bump into things, they'll be running and they'll fall, and then they'll get up. And I like that. That's really good. And plus, the lead scientist has this really cool Scottish accent. I love the Scots. I just love the way Luke. Look at this. I don't know. I can't do a Scottish accent. I'd really like to. Like Willie on The Simpsons. Bart gives his dog away, and then he goes back to Willie. Willie, I want my dog back. I ate him. He goes, what? You ate my dog? No, I ate him. What he means, I hate him. Just cracks me up. Anyway. Yeah. So, yeah, have I talked enough about what I've been watching on television? Should I crack open the newspaper? I've gone on for half an hour of this. Look, I'm going to say something really, the thing in politics that is interesting me now is they're having these Iowa caucuses, okay? And apparently, somebody who commented is like every 4 years we relearn what a caucus is. And I'm not sure exactly what it is, but apparently it's some form of democracy where there's no secret ballot. They get a bunch of people in a room and they argue. We're going to pick this guy, and you'll hear people's different reasons for it or whatever. Whoever's the loudest in the room. Is that how it works? I think it is. And so I guess they do straw polls or whatever. I don't know. All I know is that Romney is pulling out ahead. And the really interesting thing is that Ron Paul is really, really upsetting the apple cart. I mean, the Republican establishment are like, oh no, what are we going to do? And somebody asked me once, Citizen Con, what do you think about Ron Paul? And I have to say, Ron Paul is my favorite Republican. Because I don't really like any Republicans. And what I like about Ron Paul is he's the gadfly, He's the upstart. They were calling McCain a maverick. What a bunch of bullshit. He's no maverick. Ron Paul, he's a maverick, okay? And there's so much of what he's about that I completely disagree with. And it's funny, his followers are just so rabid, just so like, don't you say anything about Ron Paul. And they think we're crazy about Obama. Ron Paul to them is like that sort of cultish leader, I'd say more so than any Obama follower. Because some of the reactions you get. I mean, this is rich. And then Gingrich comes along. And I don't understand why anybody would really like Gingrich. Gingrich is so far from being presidential. But that was interesting too. I mean, on paper, I'd have to say Mitt Romney is very presidential. He's got the experience. He's able to excuse me. Pardon me. He's able to navigate he's a governor. He's able to navigate the ins and outs of politics and the pitfalls and stuff fairly well. He's intelligent. He's articulate. I have to say, he's a handsome man, and except he's a Mormon. If he was an evangelical Christian, oh man, if he was Protestant, you know, regular Christian, or even one of those whack job evangelicals, man, he'd be a shoo-in. The Tea Party would just get right behind him. And who knows, he might have enough force that probably would be able to beat Obama. You know, probably. You know, if that was the ideal candidate, you know, take Mitt Romney and then suddenly magically convert him into some sort of Southern Baptist or something. And but he's not. He's a Mormon. And it's funny, Gingrich, with his past, with his, you know, how they're all on their moral high ground. Oh, Bill Clinton did this and Bill Clinton did that and blah, blah, blah. You know, and then Newt Gingrich, you know, if it's one of them, they're always like, you know, forgive the guy, you know. It's funny with Monica Lewinsky. I heard a right-wing talk show radio portraying her as some innocent. She was far from innocent. She was nowhere. I mean, they when she would confide in that friend, she was talking about how she practiced, you know, took lessons practically on giving good oral sex because that was going to be her ticket, you know, when she went to Washington. Little did she know she would make it all the way to the president. I mean, but she was going to basically her way to the top, you know, and she did. She wasn't no innocent. Yeah, of course, Bill Clinton. What a dirtbag as far as, you know, using his power and his prestige or whatever. And, you know, if he was a rock star, it'd be totally cool. You know, he'd have groupies and all that. Even if he was married, you know. I mean, you know, nobody would really say anything. But, you know, somehow he's president. Anyway, I don't want to go into that. That's a long time ago. But Gingrich cheated on his wife. You know, and the whole, like, you know, when she was dying of cancer and things like that. And what's his name? The Democrat that was doing the same thing. That was pretty bad. Had that other kid out there. And boy, was I fooled. Can't remember his name now. I don't want to. I thought he was all right too. I was going with him over Obama at the time. I'm going, oh man, we dodged a bullet on that one. Whew. So it's looking very interesting. And we'll see what happens. You know, here McCain was complaining about pulling the troops out of Iraq. You know, and people out there, do you still think that we picked that we missed out on picking the better man? Really? McCain? With Vice President Sarah Palin? Can you imagine what they would have to like gag her and stick her in a room to make sure she didn't say anything stupid, you know? And then McCain, I mean, if he were president, we'd be like, no, let's not pull our troops. Let's put more troops in there. I mean, what? You know? I don't know. I mean, in my mind, it didn't happen fast enough. No, I think the country still made the best choice, even though I'm not 100% enthralled with Obama. But I still think we made the best choice. And now the Republicans are picking up between Ron Paul. I would just be so sweet if Ron Paul got the nomination. It would be I would so love it. Or even Gingrich. I'm a little worried if they give it to Romney, a little bit. But that would probably shake up the GOP so much, you know, fracture them. Hey, I'm not crazy about Mormons either, you know. And the whole religion thing, I know I'm supposed to be, well, what am I supposed to be? I don't know what I'm supposed to be. But in intellect, the cocktail party thing where you're supposed to say intelligent things, you don't. Religion's one of those things you stay away from. Excuse me. I've been having asthma lately. Yeah. I've been pretty open that I have a belief in a higher power or something. It's just organized religion really, really bothers me. There's so much trouble with that. And religion still interests me though. It's a major side of being human. It's a major part of being human. And I can't help but think, oh yeah, you know, some of what the Hindus have is all right. Some of what the Buddhists believe in, that's kind of interesting. you know. And then the Mormon thing comes up, and I go, it's like Christianity, but with even more crazier stuff added on. At least the crazy stuff in Christianity is a couple thousand years old. You know, they're adding crazy stuff that, what, happened like, what, less than 200 years ago? Something like that. And don't get me started about Jehovah's Witness. I had a crush on this girl, still do. She converted to being a Jehovah's Witness, and oh man, that made things even harder. We would spend time together and all that. We even took a train trip together. And my sister didn't like her though. You know what? My mom, my sister said no. She's too like her, much like our mom. Not that my mom wasn't a wonderful person, but my mother had a real strong religiosity thing. You know, too much. And my sister and I are not like that, and neither was my dad. And not to say that I wouldn't say whether my sister's a non-believer. I don't think she is, but I know that she went even, anyway. Yeah, she said her name was Tessa. She said, yeah, Tessa's too much, because of this religiosity thing. Tessa went from believing in Viking runes, which is a way of foretelling the future with these little rocks, and ghosts and astrology and things like that, to Jehovah's Witness. I mean, she went from one crazy thing to another crazy thing, in my opinion. And oh man, but she was so cute. It's so sweet. A little cuckoo. I know some of you are saying all religion's cuckoo, but there's stuff that's ingrained in our culture and our society, and I'm not against it, to have a history, of naming, naming stuff after Greek gods, like the Mercury car, naming the things in the space program, the Apollo, Gemini. I think that's part of our cultural past, part of Western history, and whether those things symbolize something else is okay. But just to say, oh, well, we should have named the rockets Apollo because we named it after a myth. So what? If there's going to be some cross on the hill, why do the atheists get so upset about it? It's like they don't have to believe in it. It's just a symbol. It's a symbol that maybe its time is gone, but we still have it around. What, are we going to go and trash every icon that's lost its meaning, or the meaning has changed? No. I certainly hope not. There's an area of study, and I don't know whether they call it that in other European countries or other places besides the U.S., but it's called the humanities, and that's an area of study. Of course, that's an area of study where I'd never get any high-paying job. It's not like being a business major or something, liberal arts, It's liberal arts and the humanities are the jobs that the doctors and the lawyers and the business majors all laughing. Yeah, you'll get a job. But when I was going to go to college, I really, really wanted to be a liberal arts or humanities major. I ended up majoring in broadcasting, which is kind of in that area too, sort of. But I just love that, and part of the humanities studies is about the religious iconography. When you're an art major, you're going to spend a lot of time looking at statues and paintings of the Virgin Mary and stuff. It's all so important for the Western civilization. When you go further back, depictions of Apollo, Greek and Roman mythology, I think it's neat. It's part of who we are. And to dismiss it entirely is just intellectually stupid. Is there such a thing? Intellectually stupid. It's anti-intellectual. As much as the atheists claim they're some higher ground of intelligence because they don't believe in spooky stuff. Then again, a lot of times if you spend any time watching some of those programs where they're trying to explain quantum physics, Merlin the magician and up to 89 different dimensions, I don't, when you hold the side, they both sound as crazy, you know. Merlin levitating the stones to create Stonehenge sounds about as viable as some of that crazy quantum physics stuff. Seriously. All right. I guess that's it. I've gone on for a long time. So I haven't done a Fez Night in a while, so I just did an extra long, extra boring Fez Night. I'm almost out of tea. All right, everybody. Have a great week and a great year. Well, I want to say cheers to Z Molten Zach. He did, and I'd like you to do more vlogs. I really do. He did a vlog and he mentioned the intro and the outro. And my outro's, yeah, the outro's not so important. Usually, I think it's changed over the time, but usually I try to say have a great week, and I raise my glass and say cheers, and then sip, and that's when I cut. And thank you, Z, that he acknowledged. Now, I couldn't guess any of the other people. I'm sorry. He gave examples of different intros. The only one I recognized was my own. But thank you for including my intro as one of the good intros for bloggers. Vloggers, bloggers, whatever. Video bloggers. All right, everybody. Have a great week. Have a great year. Cheers. Oh, I forgot the other part. Thank you for watching Fez Night 2012. Cheers.